Good evening, I'm Rohit Sharma and welcome to Desi from DC, coming to you every night from heart of Washington. This is where America's power corridor meet India's prime time to break down the political, economic and global stories that shape both nations' life from Washington D.C. From Capitol Hill to Rice on a Hill, we connect the dots between what happens here in Washington and how it echoes back home in India. We begin tonight with the big stories of the day. Putin completes historic two-day India visit. Trump receives FIFA's inaugural Peace Prize. Hegseth faces impeachment calls over both strikes. Netflix buys Warner Brothers for billions. And playwright Jeremy Harris arrested in Japan. So Delhi just hosted one of its most high-profile visitors of the year, Russian President Vladimir Putin, who wrapped up a two-day state visit full of ceremony, closed-door talks, big announcements, and some quietly powerful diplomatic messaging. What actually happened? What did India get and what did Russia want? And why does this visit matter right now? Let's walk you through it. It started with all the trappings of a classical state visit. Red carpet, guard of honor, a stop at Rajghat. Putin came with the purpose and India rolled out the full protocol. The real action, though, was at the Hyderabad house where the Prime Minister Modi and Putin held hours of one-on-one meeting, delegation-level talks. And this wasn't a routine catch-up, obviously, because both sides came in with a laundry list and they walked out with a roadmap. Top of that list, trade. India and Russia want to push their already record numbers even higher, all the way up to $100 billion in the next 5 years. That's by 2030. That's massive. And it signals that neither country is slowing down despite global pressures. Energy was another big one. India wants stable, affordable supplies, and Russia wants reliable partners. Both got what they needed. Plus, they opened up the door for more nuclear energy cooperation, including possible new reactors. And then there's defense, the cornerstone of India and Russia partnership. From air defense systems to advanced fighter jets and joint production, the message was clear that military partnership is not going anywhere. But the talks weren't just about weapons and oil. They touched everything: agriculture, pharma, labor mobility, cultural exchanges, tourism, basically a let's deepen everything kind of a summit. And hovering over all of it was geopolitics. With the Ukraine war still reshaping alliances and the West keeping a close eye on Moscow, India used this moment to underline something it repeats often: strategic autonomy. In other words, India will decide what works for India. The visit ended with a state banquet hosted by President Draupadi Murmu, and by the time Putin left, the signal was unmistakable. The India-Russia relationship is not just alive, it is being upgraded. So while the headlines will focus on defense deals or oil discounts, and this visit really was essentially about reaffirming a long, complicated, but still crucial partnership. A reminder that in today's world, India's diplomatic space isn't shrinking, it is expanding. In an unprecedented moment where sports met global politics, President Donald Trump was awarded the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize during the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw ceremony in Washington, D.C. The ceremony held at the Kennedy Center took an unexpected turn as FIFA President Gianni Infantino presented the newly created honor to the sitting U.S. President. FIFA introduced the Peace Prize this year to recognize what it calls exceptional and extraordinary actions for peace that unite people across the world. The award ceremony featured a pre-recorded video montage showcasing world leaders including India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, alongside clips highlighting Trump's diplomatic efforts. Trump, who has repeatedly branded himself as the president of peace, accepted the gold trophy, depicting hands holding up the globe with a medal around his neck, calling it one of the great honors of his life. During his speech, the president claimed credit for helping in ending or preventing multiple global conflicts. He specifically cited his involvement in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he said millions of lives were saved, as well as tensions between India and Pakistan. Trump also referenced the Russia-Ukraine war, among other diplomatic achievements. As the 2026 World Cup approaches, set to be hosted across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, this moment has ensured that the tournament will be remembered for more than just football. Whether this award will be seen as a diplomatic milestone or a controversial political statement remains a subject of intense global debate. Elon Musk received a £120 million wake-up call from Europe, and it's about a lot more than money. The European Union has fined X, formerly Twitter, $140 million under its powerful new Digital Services Act, or DSA, accusing the platform of deceiving users, hiding advertising information, and blocking researchers from crucial public data. The biggest complaint? The blue check mark. Europe says Musk turned a verification symbol into a paid badge that tricks users into thinking everyone with a blue tick is legitimate. The company also allegedly ran ads without proper transparency and made it nearly impossible for researchers to study misinformation on its platform. Here's a report. Europe just sent Elon Musk a £120 million reminder that even billionaires have to follow the rules. Under the EU's tough new Digital Services Act, X, formerly known as Twitter, has been slapped with $140 million fine. Why? Because Brussels says that the platform misled users, hid key information, and made it harder for researchers to track what's happening online. The loudest charge? That famous blue checkmark. Once a symbol of identity verification, Musk turned it into a paid badge. And the EU says that move deceived users into thinking everyone with a blue stick was legitimate. In Brussels speak, that's deceptive design. In normal language, it's selling credibility without checking credibility. Then there's advertising. European regulators accuse X of running ads without the required transparency, not disclosing who paid for what, and not keeping a proper ad library. Under the DSA, that's a big no-no, especially in an election-heavy year. And one more strike. The EU says X blocked researchers from accessing key public data, making it harder to study misinformation, hate speech, and the platform's real-world impact. X now has 60 to 90 days to fix all of this, or the fines could get even bigger, up to 6% of global revenue. That's not pocket change, even for Musk. But the political drama is just as juicy. Washington isn't thrilled. Some US lawmakers are accusing Europe of targeting American tech companies. Brussels insists that this isn't about politics. It's about safety, transparency, and not letting platforms play fast and loose with public trust. Musk, meanwhile, has already fired back on X, calling the fine absurd and accusing the EU of stifling free speech. So this is more than a penalty. It's the opening shot in the major regulatory showdown. Europe's rules versus Silicon Valley's instincts. The DSA versus Musk's "don't tell me what to do" ethos. And as X continues to push boundaries and the EU continues to push back, one thing's clear: the fight is just getting started. A dramatic political confrontation is unfolding in Washington as Michigan Congressman Sri Thanedar has announced plans to file articles of impeachment against Defense Secretary or Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. The charges: murder, conspiracy to murder, and mishandling classified information. This marks an extraordinary escalation in the controversy surrounding deadly military strikes on the alleged drug boats and the so-called Signalgate scandal. In a video posted on social media, Congressman Thander accused Hegseth of being uniquely unqualified and engaging in unlawful illegal activity. The first article of impeachment centers on the deadly strikes against the suspected narco boats in the Caribbean and Pacific that have killed at least 86 people. The second focuses on Hegseth's role in discussing classified military plans on the commercial messaging app Signal.
Being hostile. And we now know that Pete Hegseth not only carried out these strikes, but ordered those under his command to kill everybody and leave no survivors, an illegal act under our own laws of war, even when two of those on board clung to life on the side of the boat.
The congressman didn't mince words, stating war crimes have been committed. Pete Hegseth must be brought to justice. Thaida then appeared on Fox News on Thursday night calling for a bipartisan support, citing the recent near unanimous vote to release the Epstein files as a proof that Republicans and Democrats can actually work together when the stakes are high. The controversy intensified after Admiral Frank Bradley, who leads the U.S. Special Operations Command, was summoned to Capitol Hill to show classified footage of the first lethal strike, which occurred on September 2nd. According to the allegations, Hegseth ordered a second missile strike to kill everybody after spotting survivors in the water. Connecticut Representative Jim Himes called the video one of the most troubling things I've seen in my life in the public service. The timing is particularly sensitive as U.S. Southern Command reported another deadly strike just Thursday, killing 4 more people on an alleged drug boat in the Pacific. Now, whether Thaida's impeachment articles will gain traction depends on whether Republicans are willing to examine the evidence beyond party loyalty, a test of whether accountability can transcend politics in an increasingly polarized America. The streaming wars are over and there's a clear winner, Netflix. Well, Netflix has just agreed to buy Warner Brothers Discovery Studios and streaming division for a staggering $72 billion. Yes, that is $72 billion, making it one of the biggest entertainment deals in history. This means Batman, Superman, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and HBO's entire legendary catalog now belong to the company that Hollywood once dismissed as just a DVD rental service. After weeks of intense bidding that had Paramount scrambling to compete, Netflix emerged victorious with an offer nobody could match. To know more, let's look at this report.
The streaming wars, they're over. Netflix just won. Friday morning, Hollywood wakes up to an earthquake. Netflix, the streaming pioneer that completely upended the entertainment industry, has agreed to buy Warner Bros. Discovery's TV and film studios, plus its streaming division, for $72 billion. Let that sink in. One of Hollywood's most prized and oldest assets is now in the hands of the company that traditional studios once dismissed as just a DVD rental service. This was not a quiet handshake deal. This was a full-blown auction that had Hollywood insiders glued to their phones for weeks. Paramount Skydance came in strong, offering nearly $24 a share for all of Warner Bros. Discovery, including the cable TV assets. They were confident. They were the frontrunners. But then Netflix made its move, a nearly $28 per share offer that eclipsed Paramount's bid and left competitors scrambling. Warner Bros. Discovery shares had closed at $24.50 on Thursday, valuing the company at $61 billion. Netflix just blew past that. Think about what's changing hands here. Batman, Superman, Harry Potter, the entire DC universe, Game of Thrones, HBO's prestige drama legacy, Warner Bros. Legendary film studio that's been defining entertainment for over a century. All of it is now Netflix territory. Yanis Youmakis, a reader in film and media industries at the University of Liverpool, called it not really a surprise.
So this is not really a surprise. It's been going on for some time now, and we are in the full swing of a shakeout in the media industries that started at the end of the previous decade, where we have a lot of companies from the telecommunications sector or tech companies coming in and buying media companies that have a lot of assets. Netflix has stayed clear of that, tried to develop organically as much as possible. But on the other hand, the so-called legacy media that are now part of conglomerates like Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount, Sundance, Skydance, they found it very difficult to compete. So they became, ripe for takeovers. And of course, Netflix saw an opportunity here to move on, and it's doing it. It looks like.
He points to a massive shakeout in the media industry that started at the end of the last decade. Tech companies and telecoms have been swooping in, buying up media companies with valuable assets. Netflix stayed clear of the game until now. They built organically, growing subscriber by subscriber. But here's the thing. Legacy media companies like Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount, they found it very difficult to compete in the streaming era. As Marcus puts it, they became ripe for takeovers. And Netflix saw its opportunity. This is Netflix's coming of age moment. The company that revolutionized how we watch TV is now becoming a traditional Hollywood powerhouse, but on its own terms. Co-CEO Ted Sarandos acknowledged the shock. I know some of you are surprised that we are making this acquisition, but he was quick to add that Netflix understands these assets better than anyone. They are not outsiders stumbling into Hollywood. They are Hollywood now. But hold on, this mega deal isn't sealed yet. It still needs to survive brutal regulatory scrutiny in the US and around the world. Politicians are already sounding alarms. Movie theatre chains are terrified. Netflix has never exactly been a friend to theatrical releases. And antitrust regulators? They are sharpening their pencils. The breakup fee alone is billions of dollars if this deal falls through. If regulators give this the green light, we are looking at a summer 2026 closing date. Warner Bros. Discovery is splitting into two companies. The Warner half goes to Netflix, while Discovery Global with CNN and cable channels becomes its own entity. This is more than a business deal. This is the moment streaming officially conquered old Hollywood. The question is not whether the entertainment industry will change. It's already changed. The question is what comes next. One thing's certain, we are watching the future of entertainment being written in real time. With Debagna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
A historic academic freedom case is unfolding in California as San Jose State University's first-time professor fired over pro-Palestinian activism fights for her job. Professor Sanghin Kale's dismissals marks a troubling milestone. She's the first tenured faculty member at a public university terminated in connection to protest against Israel's war in Gaza, igniting fierce debate about free speech on American campuses. Kale, a longtime member of the Justice Studies Department and faculty advisor for Student for Justice in Palestine, was fired last month following her participation in campus demonstrations. The university's case centers on a confrontation at a February 2024 protest where an altercation turned physical between student protesters and a faculty member who was filming them, along with Kale's participation in a student-led encampment. The university claims Kale disrupted business operations and encouraged students to do the same, violating policies on time, manner, and place restrictions for protests. But Kale insists she attended the protest in a personal capacity and joined the encampment after witnessing police raids at similar protests in New York and Los Angeles that led to dozens of arrests. Kale's case raises critical questions about faculty rights to engage in what experts call extramural speech, expression outside the classroom. A faculty review committee found that Kale violated some of university's policies and her dismissal was disproportionate and not justified. Yet university president Cynthia Teniente Matson upheld the firing, accusing Kale of putting student education and physical safety at serious risk. The case comes as universities face unprecedented pressure from the Trump administration on issues of campus speech and activism. As Kale's battle continues through the arbitration, her case will likely set a precedent for how universities balance institutional policies with fundamental principles of academic freedom and faculty speech rights. Bollywood royalty made history in London. Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol unveiled a bronze statue of their iconic characters Raj and Simran from Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. It is the first Indian film ever honored with a statue in Leicester Square, a proud moment for cinema lovers worldwide. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Desi From DC. This is Rohit Sharma for India Today and India Today Global. And if you're watching this on India Today Global, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button before you leave. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay curious. Thank you and goodbye.